Microsoft Excel's Goal Seek tool, super slick, very quick, really optimizes some numbers to reach your goal. But one of the downsides or potential setbacks of the Goal Seek is it only allows you to modify one value to be able to reach a goal. Remember this? This was the previous video we were taking a look at with the Goal Seek. I was able to hit a goal for current payment by adjusting one of these values. I couldn't adjust the mortgage rate and the interest rate, right? I could only adjust one of them. Well, Microsoft Excel has introduced a feature called the Solver. Now, the Solver tool is an additional add-in. You have to activate this tool before you can use it, but it's free. It comes with Microsoft Excel. You just have to turn the feature on. The idea of the Solver, very much like the Goal Seek, it will help you reach a target, a goal, but it will allow you to change multiple values and set up constraints. Take a look. Open in front of you, I've got the example file, and I'm on the Solver worksheet. Here I've got two simple little tables. I've got some plant output for different quarters, and I've got some shipping costs, okay, for the different products that these plants are outputting. Now, what I like to do is I want to optimize this number right here. I want to get it to be the lowest possible number for total shipping costs. But there's some constraints that we need to live with as we optimize this number. Lower the better. This little graphic down below is going to explain some of the constraints. 1, each plant, we got 3 plants, must produce at least 20 units. Okay, so each quarter they got to produce at least 20 to justify that plant remaining open. That's one constraint. Constraint number 2, each plant has a maximum capacity. So the plant 1 can output up to 92 units per quarter. Plant 2, 45, plant 3, 55. That's a constraint per plant. Okay? And this is per quarter. The plant production must equal the requirements of the warehouse. So you see down here that quarter 1, all 3 plants can have up to 180. Okay? No more than that, because they have short life span for these products that we're putting out. Okay? So we've got a few constraints here. We need these constraints to be followed, right? But at the same time, I want to optimize our total cost for shipping. Okay? So using the Goal Seek, like we saw earlier, really wouldn't accomplish this because we can only change one thing. Okay? Now we're going to use the Solver tool, add all these constraints, and have Excel calculate all these numbers for us while keeping the total cost of shipping down to a minimum. All right, take a look. So first step, we have to activate the Solver tool. Remember, it comes with Excel. It's free. You just have to turn it on. All right, I'm going to go up to my File tab. I'm going to go down to Options, File, Options. Inside the Options window, I'm going to go to Add-ins. Inside the Add-ins window, down at the bottom, I can see that I'm managing Excel add-ins. I'm going to hit the Go button. This opens up yet another window where I'm going to make sure I have the Solver add-in turned on. That's active. Great. Make sure you check that box. You hit OK. And now on your Data tab, far right of your Data tab, you'll see an Analysis section with the Solver tool. So it's not on by default. You have to go turn that on first. All right. Once that's active, I'll give that Solver button a click. This opens up my Solver parameter window. First thing, our whole objective here in this scenario is I want to optimize. In my case, I'm thinking optimize. I want to minimize our total cost for shipping. So I'm going to say set objective is going to be H8. That's the cell that I want to work with, that we're ultimately going to optimize. And what I'd like to do is set that to a minimum. Not going to do a maximum, right? I don't want to spend more on shipping. I want to spend less on shipping. So I'm going to set that to try to be a minimum value. But remember, we have all these constraints. Okay? So first thing, how are we going to minimize that? How are we going to optimize that value? Well, we're going to allow Excel to change a few cells here. And we're going to allow them to change these quarterly values here from B5 to E7, this group of cells. Excel can jump in here and change these numbers and try to keep the total shipping costs to a minimum. But remember, we got a few constraints. So now I'm going to set up some constraints, and I'm just going to use these 3 constraints right here. So first one, I'll hit the add button. And my first constraint says that each plant must produce at least 20 units a quarter. Okay? So I'm going to grab these cells down here, total units produced. These are the various quarters, right? And I'm going to say that they have to be greater than or equal to 20. That's the first constraint. I'll hit the add button. That's constraint number 1. Each plant must produce at least 20 units a quarter. All right, what's the next one? Plant 1 has a maximum of 92 units per quarter. All right, well, I'm going to grab the plant 1 values, which are B5 through E5, and I'm going to say that this can be less than or equal to 92. That's a maximum value, right? Plant 1 each quarter can be less than or equal to 92. All right, I'll add that one. All right, let's do the same thing for plant 2. I'll grab plant 2's values there, and this one could be less than or equal to 45. I'll add that one. And then one more for plant 3. This one will be less than or equal to 55. And I'll hit add. So now we've got 4 constraints, the 20 or more, and the maximum amount for each plant. All right, we've got one more. The plant production must equal the requirements of the warehouse. The warehouse demands 180 units per quarter 1, 80 for 2, 190 for 3, and 160 for 4. So now I'm going to do this by quarter. I'll grab quarter 1's total here, total units produced. And this one has to be equal to the 180. And I'll add that. And I'm just going to do this for each of them here. I'm grabbing quarters 2. This one has to be equal to the 80. Great, add that one. Now we're going to grab quarter 3. This one has to be equal to the 190. And one more. Quarter 4's has to be equal to the 160. And add that. All right, so now we've got all these constraints. I'll hit OK. This will take me back. Oh, let's. I already hit the add, so it's opened up a new constraint for me. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out. This will take me back to my solver parameters window. So I've got my set objective, H8. I'm going to go to a minimum of that value by allowing Excel to change the values of the plant production within these constraints. All right, here comes the magic. We've told Excel what we want to do, minimize the total shipping by changing the plant output, but keep in mind these constraints. I'm going to hit OK or solve, and Excel does the rest. Take a look at this. All this work, we've minimized the shipping down to $848.01 by adjusting these numbers here, but staying in with these constraints. So if you follow through, they're all above 20 within there, right? Their plant 1 was 92, 45 for plant 2, and 3 with 55, and they all match their output here. This is the solver. All these constraints, Excel did all this work for us. Calculations just running in the background for us that output this final number of minimizing the total shipping cost within those constraints. Try it out. You can follow this little guide that I've added into this file here, or come up with your own constraints, or think about your own documents. You know, I need to be able to get this number optimized to maximum amount, to a specific value, to a minimum amount, but keep these constraints in mind as well. We have to follow these rules. Try it out. This is a solver tool. And remember, you need to activate it first before you can use it.